wow. This story of the Lion Air Boeing 737 MAX, which crashed into the ocean in the Indonesian Java Sea. Guys, it's getting worse and worse. We know what happened. The basic facts of the story is the plane took off and 11 minutes later plunged into the ocean, killing all about 190 people on board. The problem here is that this was one of Boeing's newest jets with all of the fancy safety features. It turns out what happened is that the angle of attack sensor, which is two vanes on the nose of the plane, which basically tell the pilot and the plane, that is, what position the airplane is in, whether it's facing upwards or facing down, malfunctioned. But here's the thing, they malfunctioned on the previous flight. The pilots of the previous flight had to basically disable the systems as they brought it into land. The plane overnight was serviced by a qualified technician who failed to notice that the one vane was pointing up and the other was pointing down by a difference of 20 centimeters. The plane then took off and the pilots overwrote about 5 different safety systems which are designed to prevent exactly these kinds of problems as the airplane plunged into the ocean. And here's another terrifying aviation story. That's right. Florida man Chris Gursky, he's a photographer, was visiting Switzerland and decided it would be fun to do a 4,000-meter hang gliding outing. Sounds great. You know, one of those beautiful ones in summer where you fly over that beautiful, beautiful green Swiss valley. So here he is getting started with the highly experienced pilot of the hang glider next to him, and he's busy getting, you know, all trussed up, and they're about to set off. There they go. Only to find that the very experienced pilot has failed to clip him in. That's right, failed to basically attach him to the hang glider at all. At which point the guy is literally hanging on for dear life. He's like kilometers off the ground, hanging on
with his hands. At
one point with one arm, while he's trying to grab the pilot to stabilize himself, you know, like onto his belt or his pants or something. The pilot's in no position to help because he's realized there's serious trouble going down here and he's got to land this thing as quickly as he can.
Yeah.
Now he's busy getting tired and he's well below the landing gear as they bring it into land. And basically they do an emergency landing. The man survives, gets reported into hospital, has ripped tendons in his left arm, fractures in his right wrist, but managed to survive.
Sure.
Let me tell you, if you didn't know, property development of upscale residential property, large-scale developments is a tricky and expensive business, if you didn't know already. I'm not talking about South Africa. Consider this gorgeous development in the town of Mudurnu, which is on the mountain road between Istanbul and Ankara in Turkey. Look at these monstrous Mack Mansions they're building there, in the style of French chateaus. Absolute shocker. The developer who put up plans anyway for 732 of these units says that he managed to sell about 350 to mostly Arabs in the area, at which point, I don't know, the deposits started, you know, not coming in at the pace he was expected. Some of them had been built, not occupied, not paid for. Now the man has been pushed into bankruptcy. His name, the CEO anyway, is Mehmet Yerdelen. But in true property developer style, he said, you know, this is just a temporary bankruptcy. We're applying for temporary protection. If I can just get, you know, 1 or 2 sales through, then I can pay, or then we can be back in business, baby. You know how lower league sports teams are sometimes, you know, short of a few players. They play in the midweek. They have a surprise win. Everybody gets so pissed that night, they're still legless by Friday and they have to cancel the Saturday fixture. Or, you know, I don't know, somebody just left or retired or someone broke their boots or something. So what do? They invent an excuse for why they can't be there. Usually the lights at the stadium broke down or, you know, the bus is not working. But this team called Ballyback FC in Dublin, Ireland, really pulled out all the stops last week. So one of their players, who was a Spaniard, left the squad. So they concocted an excuse that the man had actually died in a car accident on his way home from training. So they contacted the league and said they were unavailable for the game because they were all in shock and needed time to you know, get used to the idea of the loss of their teammate. Condolences started flowing in until Police in the area said, you know what, there were no road accidents that day, and in fact no one died in the whole county at that particular time, at which point the unfortunate truth started tumbling out. The man, the player, is at home and well eating ham in Spain. In any event, it now looks as though Ballyback FC are about to be kicked out of the league, the Leinster Senior League. So the whole club is now dead.
Oh.
And here's one final bonus blunder. President Donald Trump, being interviewed in the White House this week, was asked a specific question about the problem of climate change. And this was in response to a voluminous report which had been put out by 13 different federal agencies, indicating what kind of damage there had already been to citizens, infrastructure, the economy, and all sorts of other future prospects of the economy, as well as potential claims in the future as a result of climate change and rising oceans. This was Trump's response, and I quote. He said, one of the problems is that a lot of people, like myself, we have very, very high levels of intelligence. But we're not necessarily such believers in climate change.
Ah? Is that it?